Tired of ordinary events and boring activations? Want your brand to be the main attraction, not just another logo in the room? Promotoss games and promo products make it happen. Promotoss adds excitement and turns your events into high-energy experiences with in-demand interactive merch. From trade show games and tailgate classics to oversized giants and more. Whether it's indoor, outdoor, or all season long, Promotoss has it all. This isn't merch you toss in a bag. This is engagement people crave. All with free mock-ups, in-house design, no setup fees, and flexible orders. To get started with a free packet of mock-ups featuring your logo, send your logo to promotoss.com today.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Promo Perspectives. I'm your host, Nicole Cook. Now, if you've been with us for a little bit, you know that we've been talking about all things PPAI Expo, and it's not slowing down today. We had an episode where we got to hear from various perspectives about how the event went, what their favorite moments were, what their takeaways were, some behind the scene info. And it was such a hit that we decided we would take in even more information and share that out with you guys, especially for you who may not have been able to attend the show this year. So to kick us off, I talked internally to our distributor sales team, a perspective we hadn't heard before. These are members of our Sage team who are working in our booth day in and day out. And I heard from Greg Cox, who's one of our distributor account advisors. And when I asked him what felt new or different compared to previous years, because Greg has been with us for a while and he's been to many an expo, he said that the amount of excitement the new features caused was more than normal. He was also extremely impressed by the amount of things that we gave away and how well that was handled. So if you weren't aware, this year at the Sage booth, we added a slot machine live on the show floor, which I know sounds crazy, but we did it. And it was such a hit. Every spin was a win. Everybody who came in got either a t-shirt, we gave away speakers. We even had a few people who won free Sage stores for a year or free email campaigns for a year. And it was a lot of fun. I can say I worked the booth and worked that slot machine a little bit. It was so much fun to see people win, just like you would feel on the casino floor in Vegas. And that drove so much traffic to our booth. It was a really cool activation idea. And even some other people who had booths came up to us and talked to us about how we were able to pull it off. And it might be something that you see in future trade shows. Who knows? We'll see. But he also said that the show made him really excited to bring back home with him the fact that our new features are really easy to show and they're really easy to adapt. He found that when he was at the trade show floor, people kind of got the new features that we were releasing really easily. And I'll spare you guys the details on them all this episode because we have plenty of episodes coming up to talk about all the new features Sage has released. But take a look at them. They're so easy to follow and they're really intuitive for our customers and they really apply to their businesses back home. And he said it was a great way for our customers to get excited about the new tools and services. So that was something that made Expo really fun for him. Now, moving to our PPAI family, we talked to Alok Bhatt at PPAI to ask him what makes this show so special to him. Here's what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Alok Bhatt, Research and Public Affairs Lead at PPAI. What makes PPAI Expo special is how the industry comes together to learn from each other. This isn't about selling or buying products. It's suppliers, distributors, various other partners openly sharing what's working, what's not, and how they are adapting in a tougher business year that we had. The collective learning is what makes this event so powerful for the branded merchandise industry. PPAI Expo is also the single biggest networking event for our industry. This year alone, I connected with people more than 20 countries and spent time with leaders across multiple committees and industry groups. The global and cross-function interaction simply doesn't happen anywhere else at this scale, and it reinforces how interconnected the industry is. What's important to understand is that Expo is much more than a trade show. It's about leadership, it's about education, it's about a global perspective all coming together at one place. And this year, that mattered more than ever. While the revenue growth was present across the industry, margins were under real pressure, and the reality shaped many of the conversation happened on and off the floor. For me, one of the most biggest meaningful moment this year was that the first time ever in the industry history, PPAI released a US distributor sales volume results on the actual day of Expo. This was intentional. The data helped frame a clear message. Growth alone doesn't tell full story when the cost, tariff, and uncertainty are impacting profitability. What made that especially important is that these insights didn't stop at Expo. The message backed by real industry data was later carried into discussion at the Capitol Hill and the White House as part of broader advocacy effort at PPAI. So the Expo became the foundation of policy conversation that directly affecting the future of merch industry. Overall, PPAI Expo 2026 showed what's possible when the industry aligns together and shared challenges and shared goals. It's where learning turns into leadership, data turns into action, and community turns into real impact.
I totally agree with what Alok had to say. I think that is totally part of what makes Expo so special. Keeping with our team over at PPAI, we next talked to Liz Wimbush, who is their Director of Sustainability and Responsibility at PPAI. This year was her third on staff, fifth overall at Expo, so she's another PPAI Expo Pro. And in 1 to 2 sentences, when I asked her to summarize how she felt about the event, she said that it is reinvigorating and electric. From a staff perspective, it's incredible to work with such a collaborative team to bring it all together and see so many of our members in person. And I totally agree. And I'll give a little teaser now. When you talk to the PPAI team, electric was the word that they all use. It really is. There's so much buzz about it. And being in Vegas and seeing the lights and seeing all the trade shows and everything that people put together, it's really, really awesome. And so I can only imagine being on the front lines of putting that show together has to just be so satisfying and rewarding on the back end. Another thing which I thought was interesting coming from her, especially with her role, is a big trend that she noticed, whether it was in products, branding, etc., was data-driven sustainability claims. So that is really a trend that we saw a lot at Expo. And keeping with the sustainability trend, when I asked her what her favorite booth activation experience was, she said, the Back of House Sustainability Tour with MGM's Director of Sustainable Operations with Kristen Royal was awesome. She said it's incredible to see how much thought and planning goes into minimizing landfill from the waste from the event. Their solar and water saving initiatives and how they leverage existing recycling markets to boost return on investment on sustainability efforts was awesome. So if you're not aware, MGM is the parent company of Mandalay Bay, which is where our trade show is hosted. So she got to have a behind the scenes look into how they apply sustainability practices to our show, which is awesome. It's really seeing those sustainability trends in action. So that's awesome. Next, I talked to Jill Began, who's the manager of regional relations and communities at PPAI. And when I asked her to summarize her expo experience, she said, while each year's experience will be a bit different, this one was, for me, was truly different. I was previously in professional development, and this was the first year I attended as regional relations and communities. So it was exciting and energizing in a whole new way for her. And a way that she expanded on that was to talk about her networking moments. And she said every time that she got to speak with someone, whether it was someone new or someone she was able to reconnect with, she was getting to see people in person, and that was just the best part of it. It really is awesome to just bring the entire industry together. And I also asked her what was a funny, weird, or memorable moment. And she said, I can't say it was the most memorable, but for the first time, I was able to see the show opening and feel the hype and energy that comes with it. Being there as everybody walked into the show floor for the first time was the best. And I think that we might be able to show a little clip of what it looks like when people are entering that trade show. It's so cool to see the excitement and energy when people are showing up to that floor for the first time. So as you can see, it's almost like watching people like run into a Super Bowl game. It's really, really awesome to see when you're there live in person. Our last perspective that we have for today comes from Ashley Vanderstuff, who's the Senior Manager of Events and Expositions at PPAI. I can say personally, I work with Ashley a ton directly, putting together a lot of the marketing materials for the event, and I know Ashley does way more than that. So I was really curious, her perspective of the back end putting together the show, and she had to say that the PPAI Expo is always such a whirlwind. It is months and years that go into planning, and on-site goes by in a flash. This year's event felt especially energizing. It's the kind of experience that reminds you why these moments matter, which I think is such an awesome way to put it. And of course, her one word to describe Expo was energizing. So again, lots of energy if you can't tell. And because she is such a crucial part of putting the show together, I also wanted to ask her, what's an underrated part of putting together the show? And she said that there's so much micro magic moments. I love that word, micro magic, that often go unnoticed. It's the people reconnecting for the first time in a year, the exhibitors adding the final touches to their booth right before the show floor opens, or when a spontaneous dance party breaks out in the lobby with a few mascots. I can say I have seen these dance parties in the lobby, and they are a blast. There's a DJ. It's so fun. So I thought that that would be kind of a good way to wrap up this PPAI Expo series, but I wanted to really close it out with Ashley's caption that she would use, because I think it just perfectly encapsulates how this year went. And she said, "We'll be thinking about this one for a while." Totally agree. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week on Promo Perspectives.